Hi, Susan.
Hi, E.
Do you want to drive the meeting?
Oh no, feel free. I think it'll be a short meeting as well. Like since you've started the meeting, we can just see if there's any agenda to discuss.
Yeah, I also saw Akash joined. Um, yeah, I think we have something to discuss, but it's just about the timing. Maybe we need to uh, discuss those from next week.
Yeah, sure. I'll be able to take notes on that too. I saw there's like a note from Luis about the sidecar containers. I'm just wondering, E, Feynman, and Akash, um, do we block? Do we like if someone deployed containers with the sidecar containers? Intuitively, I thought the Ratify would just verify that as well. Um, is the intention to block them?
I
Do you
think,
have any context? Yep.
yeah, I think the intention there is that we want to make sure that we have some sort of mechanism to exclude certain containers. That's why there's that field exclude containers, because for sidecar containers, you actually don't want to block them, I think, for certain
But you
scenarios.
do you want to verify them?
Um, yeah, I'm not sure, but I think they're asking if we have a switch where you can kind of, I guess, define which containers you want to exclude. Because at the gatekeeper level, I think they have a spec template field which allows you to do that. But from a Ratify perspective, my initial thought is that if there's already a system at the gatekeeper level, then we should be okay because then the template itself may not get executed unless it matches that criteria. But it's probably something we need to look into and see exactly what the
Yeah,
scenario is. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. We have not really tested the scenario out. Step one would be to understand what's the current workflow.
Yes. Yeah. The other
Uh,
thing to, sorry, is someone else speaking?
yes. For the sidecar, I mean, is there anything special for the sidecar? It's still an image pulled from somewhere, right? It's mainly related to the multi-tenancy, the namespace multi-tenancy feature, right? If we, uh, I mean, if not is not the multi-tenancy case, the cluster wide, so there's no different, right? According to our current behavior, it's just an image that we need to verify it. So maybe Akash or Susan can comment.
Yeah,
I
I did
think
see a note
yeah, yeah.
about like there's a namespace and the if what happens if the container lives outlives the
Outside,
namespace.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like in multi-tenancy case, for example, the policy was assigned to certain namespace, for example, one namespace. However, they are images coming from other namespace, right? It could be the sidecar. Yeah, anyway, I think these scenarios need to be discussed.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when Bingbing is back.
Yep.
Akash, please go ahead. You have some other things.
Yeah, the other thing was you probably noticed I have quite a few PRs that I've sent out. So Susan, whenever you get a chance to take a look at those are just other quality improvements for Gratify. some CI upgrades, and I'm working on another one which will upgrade all of our CI pipelines to use the most latest tools, as well as to migrate off of using the now, I think, obsolete ORS project distribution image for the registry. Now we're transitioning to use Zot like the other projects use. So just a bunch of PRs, nothing too large in each one of them. Just need a review whenever you have a chance.
Yeah, I'll take a look today, Akash. I'm blocked on some internal builds, so I have some
Okay,
bandwidth.
perfect. Awesome.
Yeah, I also will review some PRs related to the cosine that Akash you mentioned previously.
Yes, yeah, that'd be great. Yep.
Yeah. I have one question. As you know that I also saw some comments that because currently for notary projects, when verify notary project signatures, right, we have the verifier that we support the trust policy that following the notary project definition that we have the registry scopes, right, and trust identities, and also certificate store, trust store. And however, currently for the registry scope for notary project, it supports either a wildcard, which means any registry, image from any registry, or a list of repositories. So from notary project point of view, it does not support a list of registry. For example, if a user want to specify a registry or the registry not to the repository path, but to the namespace under the registry. So for these scenarios, notary project does not support yet. So I'm thinking that I want to ask this question from Ratify point of view. It is possible to that have a similar registry scope, for example, to for some verification parameters are applied to, for example, registry 1. For some verifier configurations are applied to registry 2. I think maybe for the cosine PRs that Akash created also has a similar comment, right? For cosine,
Yes.
it is the same because the images from different source may assigned differently, right? So currently, what we support is that we provide all the configurations for any registries. So we do not differentiate for what registry need to have what kind of verifier parameters. I mean, the values are different.
Yes,
So
that's true.
my question is maybe Akash is more familiar with this. Is it possible, for example, for notary project signature, it does not support the registry scope on registry level, but from Ratify point of view, it is possible to support this.
So we don't have that capability today. The closest thing that you can do is you could potentially define multiple, duplicate verifiers, and then in Rego policy itself, be able to kind of query, do some sort of wildcard parsing at that level and figure out which verifiers that you want to, or which verifier reports you actually want to consider for the overall decision. It's probably a more involved template to do something like that, but it might be possible. Now the question is, a higher level question is that when you scope by registries or by repositories, that in itself can be considered almost like a policy decision. And yes, like cosign and notation do that, and that's just kind of the only feasible way to do it. But do we want to also introduce that at the ratify level when we already have? We're trying to kind of separate responsibilities or policies kind of run using a Rego and OPA engine on top of the reports that Ratify returns. So that would just be my one comment there to understand exactly what scenario would we want to would benefit from this, from Ratify itself actually implementing this versus having a set of policies that you would write that could do the same.
Yeah, I think this is a very good comment from you. Yeah, maybe I ask this question in two details related to implementation. Actually, from user point of view, they want, for example, the interface is the policy, right? So they would like to, for example, for the Azure as the cloud provider, they have the Azure policy, right? From the policy point of view, user want to select different configurations for different registry. So, and also I received some comments that people are also thinking whether it is on Ratify, because from notary project signature point of view, the trust policy did support that, the scope, but although limited scope, but the trust policy, the registry scope can be used for that purpose. And people also thinking about whether should do it on the regular policy part, as Akash you just mentioned. But overall, it is from the user, they need to specify some values from the policy level so that they know for some registry, they can do this configuration. For some other registry, they can do some other configuration values.
Yep.
So that, yeah, they can differentiate.
And I think a follow-up question, another general follow-up question to that is what is the expectation now of a Ratify user? Is the expectation that, they would be writing their own Rego policy, and for, simplicity's sake, then you can make the case that these features need to be built into Ratify? Or is that too much of an ask for a user? And in reality, really, it's going to be a templated model, kind of like how we see in Azure policy or other cloud providers might do it the same, where you'd provide them, you do the legwork to write that policy for them, and then you would just be the user would be adding some parameters and things like that. That might also influence the decision here.
Yeah, I think the ideal way, because rebel policy is too complicated, right?
Exactly.
Ideal way, yeah, we just provide the necessary features that we think for the user. User just with very good experience, they just do some configuration. But there could be some advanced asks for those parts. It can be the user to write customized policy.
Yep.
So I think the key here is that we need to define what are the core capability that we need to provide, right? Then for others, it should be the user's responsibility to write customer policies.
Yep, makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, at this moment, I think for the registry scope, it should be part of our capabilities, because otherwise it will be too broad from security point of view. Any registry using any parameters, right? But we can have further discussion later. Yeah.
I think one thing to follow up on the cosign discussion work, yeah, if you and Feynman could take a look at the document again, and I know it's changed quite a bit depending on our discussions over the last few weeks. So I intend to create more of a finalized design document, but I will resend you the link to the trust policy equivalent portion for cosign, because I think we need to agree on that general idea and solution before we even begin any sort of implementation.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, please send me the updated link,
Okay.
or it is already in that PR you
It is,
you
but
have.
the document is not quite long, so I'll just send you the direct link to the header of the
Okay,
specific.
okay, sure. I think we first align from user point of view, what the user wants to, what is the experience. Then we can think about what's the best design for implementing this.
Yes, yep, makes sense.
So Akash, just to confirm, do you mean the PR cosign upgrade design document that
Yes,
you sent
that's correct.
in January?
Correct, yep.
Okay, I will make sure to continue review the up-to-date content.
Yep. And if anything doesn't make sense, like just please comment on it and I'll follow up with that. I know it's a long document and a lot of stuff has changed, so there might be some things that are a little bit confusing to people.
Okay, so for E's question, did you mean the issue that you created on the GitHub for supporting fine-grained party scope?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
I got that.
it's related. Yeah.
I have a question for Akash and Susan. So in the last week, I saw we have 2 new users ask questions, and seems they have some problems with their onboarding experience, right? One have been resolved and followed up by Akash. I think you had a very long troubleshooting process with this user. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, very long. He said he will have one-on-one with you to share detailed information. So I'm not sure if we located the root cause of that issue, and I want to know what the status of this user's problem.
Sure, yeah. So current status is that it's not resolved, actually. I'm waiting on him to send me to private message me the details that I had requested, which was the content, the redacted content of the secret, which includes the credentials to the registry. This one has been difficult and challenging to go through because I have not been able to reproduce it on my end. First off, his setup is a little bit different. They're using JFrog Artifactory, which is unfortunately a registry that we haven't done any sort of testing with at all. So I kind of had to stand up a JFrog. Well, first, actually, I didn't have any experience with JFrog, so understanding what is JFrog Artifactory. Looks like they have a cloud offering, but they also have a local registry that you deploy in your cluster, and then it kind of syncs with the upstream. So that there might be some discrepancies there. So I tried with the cloud version, and then I tried again with the local registry that they've deployed in the cluster that they're using. Still not able to reproduce the issue. And unfortunately, we don't have great debugging logs in the Kubernetes auth provider. So I actually have one of the PRs I have out is to improve that substantially. But I think that is kind of retroactively and it won't really help in this case. I have a hunch as to what the issue is, which is why I asked him to send the secret content. But if I'm not able to figure it out from that, I think it's now the time to set up a call and just share screen with him and see exactly what their setup is, because I think we're missing something here. So yeah, that's the status of that one.
So what I have heard are 2 things. The one is that we lack some debug logs for Kubernetes secret.
Yes.
And yeah, so you had a PR to solve this problem. So it's a current logger. You know, we have a switch to enable logging by Ratify logger. All the users enable that logging in their Kubernetes cluster. They can even not saw they cannot even see the detailed logs, debug logs from the environment.
Yes, so they see debug logs, but we don't have any debug logs in the Kubernetes secret auth provider at all. So there's nothing that would give us a hint as to what's going wrong here. So that's what the PR addresses. It adds those debug logs.
Okay, so can we say if this PR merged into main, should the user use the main branch and redeploy their Ratify cluster to show the debug logs?
Yeah, I think that we could do that. We could publish because we already published a Helm chart, so I could walk them through. We'd have to explain how to do that because it's a little bit different from the current setup. They would need to use the dev chart as well as the dev image as well. But yeah, that's a good idea. I think maybe we can have them try that.
Okay, so I think at this moment, we are hard to locate where is the issue from. Is from JFrog Artifactory or is from Ratify inside? We will need
Yes.
further debug logs to identify the root cause.
Yes, yeah. It could either be an issue with JFrog, it could be an issue with Ratify, or it could be an issue with the way they've set up the resources on the cluster as well. So it's a little bit hard to debug that.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
I think this
but
user is very patient. Is very patient because he
yes.
continuously provides very detailed report. Go ahead, Akash. Sorry.
No. Sorry for yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's been very patient and I've kind of been waiting for him to just stop responding because, you know, after a while he'll just give up. But he seems more interested in getting it working, which is good.
Okay. I think we can prioritize the debug log for Kubernetes secret with that PR. And when we have a dev build, we can share that with this user and see whether we can locate the root cause.
Yep.
Thank you, Akash. I'm asking this because I think we will need to pay attention to the onboarding experience because there are a few problems that I have seen from the newcomers.
Yes, yeah. I think we have some paper cuts in that we need to fix. So
another issue raised from a user in the Slack channel, and Susan, you replied to that user. So Susan, do you have any thoughts on the user's problem? It seems it relates to the EKS cluster.
So the customer responded yesterday. I think there's a general problem with the setup. Like, I think one of the problem he mentioned is Gatekeeper pod keeps restarting. So in his screenshot, he applied like more resources like CPUs and memory to the chart. But he didn't really say if that's changed anything for him. He also, in the Ratify configuration, if we've pointed him like, okay, you need to configure Gatekeeper with longer timeouts. And again, oh, look, I did it. And there was no further information on, is he seeing the logs now? Or is he still experiencing Gatekeeper restart? So the request would actually never reach Gatekeeper. So maybe if we confirm that he's unable to keep Gatekeeper running, maybe he should first start with the Gatekeeper community. Like, I think logs is essential in his case, like, because I see Jesse that responded to the later thread on the pod restart is like, Jesse says, like, do you know why the pod restarted? So I think maybe the logs will be able to tell, but I feel like it's a general setup issue before we can say it's a Ratify problem.
Okay. I saw the latest response from this user yesterday. So it might be the limited resource request that he set in his cluster? Or we are still troubleshooting the root cause with this user?
How, sorry to jump in here. Feynman, how would you recommend we proceed with this? Because we aren't sure if this is a Ratify issue or if it's a gatekeeper issue. Should we direct the user to also cross-post in the gatekeeper Slack, and maybe they would get some answers there? Because the gatekeeper pod restarts, I would assume, are not related to Ratify directly. That would restart because of its own issues as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think asking this issue in the gatekeeper community is also a practice, but I think naturally users will come to Ratify because gatekeeper is a built-in dependency in the Ratify Helm chart, right? So naturally he thought we should help him for this issue.
Okay.
But if we can locate that this is the pure gatekeeper issue, or it's a problem from the gatekeeper pod, I think we will need to direct this user to the gatekeeper community, or we can reach out to Certec team for help.
Or at least he should try to just install Gatekeeper with like simple local Gatekeeper policies and see, even without Ratify, can he have the image validated?
Yeah, I think he's still blocked by the gatekeeper restarting problem, and I'm thinking whether we can ask Certec to help and take a look in the Ratify Slack channel. Then we will not lose the conversation here. I'm not sure if we direct this user to other places. Maybe if he failed to install the gatekeeper or run the gatekeeper in the cluster, they will not consider Ratify in the future. So I'm thinking we can finalize his problem with other, maybe from gatekeepers folks help in the Slack channel, in Ratify Slack channel.
I see. Yeah, we can suggest him to just install Gatekeeper. With this constant restart issue, how could he capture the logs to understand, what went wrong if the pod keeps restarting? Is there any tricks? Because the pod restart and the logs are lost, right?
Yeah, this is a tricky. We don't have logs, so it's nothing to troubleshoot.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I think for the gatekeeper restarting, it's better that some folks from gatekeeper can take a look, and it may related to the resource that maybe Jesse or someone point out in the Slack messages. By the way, I need to drop in 1 minute, but I am a host, so if I dropped, I will drop you over, right? I don't know.
I think I've had glitches in the past where like my internet broke and I think the meeting just went on. Maybe just you can try. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I need to drop for another meeting. Sorry.
Yeah,
I think
thanks,
maybe we
Steve.
can park the discussion here because I will also need to join another meeting. We still have some items that we can plan for next week, next community meeting.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll stay on for 1 more minute just so I can observe if E leaves, what will happen. Okay, take care.
Thanks. Bye.
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 I can assign someone.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, it's okay.
Testing the Zoom behavior here.
So regarding Zoom meeting recording, Susan, are you or Akash or Luis manually upload the recording to the YouTube?
Yeah, yeah. I've shown Akash and Luis once, but it requires like different permissions to upload these to the Azure Upstream channel.
Okay, so
So it is a manual
I have
thing
a
to upload it to the right playlist.
I have a tip for streamlining the process of manually uploading these. For ORAS and Notary project, we enabled the Zoom auto live streaming. This can live stream the Zoom meeting to YouTube. If we enable the live streaming, the meeting will not need to be manually handled and uploaded to the YouTube. I can share
Oh.
a short summary that I made for Notary project last year. So maybe if you have the permission to Ratify Zoom and also the Azure Upstream Gmail, I think you can help to configure that. So in the future, you will not need to manually handle this. I can share
Yeah, that sounds great. And
the article
do
with you.
the live stream just automatically get saved and to a playlist, is that correct?
Correct. Because you live streamed your meeting, all of those discussion and the video are automatically recorded in YouTube.
Yep.
I think it will save your time.
Yeah, sounds good. We haven't been really good about uploading, so
Yeah, we have the
because
same pain
yeah.
point in running Notary project and the ORAS meeting. So I can share that article with you.
Yep. Thank you, Feynman.
One last thing, Feynman. So I heard you're going to KubeCon and you might talk about Ratify. If you need any help from us to, with any of the demos or anything, just let us know. We can help out.
Yeah, that's a nice just a nice quote. Actually, I'm going to record 2 videos for Ratify. I will start the recording early next week, and if I encounter some problems with Ratify, I will reach out to Akash and Susan for any help.
Yeah,
Great.
have fun.
Yes. Enjoy the French
Okay.
food.
I hope so. I will need to jump and join another meeting. Maybe we can end today's meeting and continue some discussions in our next committee meeting when people are back.
All right. Take care, everyone. Talk to you next week.
Yeah, have a
Thanks.
nice day, nice evening. Bye.
Bye.